This is the Grow Your Clinic podcast from Clinic Mastery. We help progressive health professionals to lead inspired teams, transform client experiences, and build clinics for good. Now, it's time to grow your clinic.
Well, welcome back to another episode of the Grow Your Clinic podcast. My name is Jack O'Brien. Thank you for joining us again today. As always, really humbled that you would choose to invest your time learning from the Clinic Mastery team. And we love the opportunity to be able to deliver and hopefully deliver in spades. And today will be no different. A great opportunity for you to be inspired, to learn from a clinic owner and a Clinic Mastery Business Academy member who is doing incredible things in her practice outside of the norm, out in WA, regional Western Australia. I would love to welcome Jasmine Hulls to the podcast. Jasmine, how are you?
Great. Thank you, Jack. Thanks for that introduction. It's very humbling. I'm not sure if I'm doing amazing things, but I hope some people can get something out of today's session.
Yeah, awesome. No, you are doing wonderful things, and your leadership is inspiring to me. So for those who aren't aware or haven't been able to check it out yet, Jazz is the owner, the practice principal, the head honcho of Physio Group South West in, as it says, the southwestern corner of Australia and WA. Jazz, do you want to give us a bit of a snapshot of where your clinics are in relation to Perth?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so we're situated approximately 2 hours south of Perth. We have 3 locations. 2 of them are on the coast, so Harvey and Australind, and they're approximately 40 kilometres away from each other. And then we have a third clinic in Collie, which is a country town a little bit east of the other 2. A little bit inland, so that's also about 40 minutes from the other practices. So we're sort of in a triangle in the southwest of WA. Yeah.
Love it. It sounds very idyllic, and I can't wait to get over there. I'll be over actually for the APA conference in Perth, and this little promo for listeners. We'll be doing a Clinic Mastery event in and around the APA conference in Perth in Western Australia in May, June 2020. But that's enough for me. Jazz, just so we can get to know you a bit more and give the listeners a bit of insight, I've got a couple of icebreaker questions for you. It's a speed rounds. We'll try and keep it to 10 or 15 seconds an answer. Are you ready to go?
I'm ready.
All right, here we go. Jazz, what are you reading or learning right now?
Currently reading The Ideal Team Player, which follows on from the 5 dysfunctions of a team. And I love the way that it's written in a story format, and then at the end it has some awesome activities to do with your team.
Love it. Pat Lencioni is one of my favourite authors. Ideal Team Player. Do you remember off the top of your head what are the 3 characteristics?
The 3 characteristics were humble, hungry, and smart.
Top of the class. Okay, question 2. Who inspires you?
I always find this question really, really tricky because I don't have a single person that I would name. I have hundreds of people probably. I think I have been inspired by many, many, many people over the years, and I think each person that I've come in contact with have inspired me in one way or another. So I think it'd be tricky for me to pinpoint one person, but I think I just try and take something from every person that I come in contact. But I guess the one person that I would say would be my niece. She was born deaf, blind, and has dyspraxia. And this girl, she's 15 years old now and walks with a walking frame, is deaf and blind, and she lives life probably more full than majority of us. So a couple of weeks ago, I went and watched her do indoor skydiving, which is amazing. Yeah. So, so cool. if I have to say one person, I'd have to say her.
Yeah, your excuses don't really match up in light of her situation, do they?
Oh, absolutely not. It makes you think, what is my excuse? What am I doing?
Awesome. Jazz, what did you want to be growing up?
I always wanted to be in a profession working with people and helping people. And I flicked between doctor, nurse. I probably sat on nurse most of the time because that's what my mum was. But when I was 15, I did some work experience with a physio. And from that moment on, that's exactly what I wanted to be and nothing else.
Yeah, right, 15. So from a pretty young age.
Yeah, I had my sights set on it, and nothing else was going to be okay. So
Right, that's awesome.
Here we are.
Here we are. And so then today, what's a motto that you live by?
I think probably the biggest motto that I live by is go in with curiosity. So any relationship or any situation, we all bring to that situation our own backgrounds, our own beliefs, our own perceptions. And I think, you can get defensive, you can, argue over it, you can get upset. But I think if you go in with curiosity to each situation and find out where that other person is coming from, what they believe and what their perceptions are, not only will it help you to overcome conflict, but I think, and this is the other motto that I live by, is that you can learn something from everybody. So, going in with curiosity, I think you can always learn something, and it certainly helps with relationships.
Oh, we could wrap up the podcast there. And I've learned something already. That's awesome. Thank you for sharing. That's amazing. All right, let's dive into the story a bit more of Jasmine Hulls. So you mentioned that as a teenager, physio was on the radar. What transpired to eventually get you into physio?
Well, I grew up on a farm. So my dad was a farmer. We were doing sheep farming and crop farming as well. And I guess my dad always worked extremely hard, and farming's quite a thankless job as well. And so I sort of saw that, and I really wanted to, do something different, but also I wanted to have more of a personal interaction with people.
Right, understand.
Yeah, so when I did my work experience at 15, and that's what I decided I wanted to do, it wasn't an easy road. I am not a natural academic, and at the time to get into university to do physio, the score that you needed was 96 out of 100 for your TR. So that was not easy for me, but not being a natural academic. But I had my sights set on it and figured out the best way that I could get the highest score that I could doing the subjects. So I took a risk and picked 4 TE subjects and just really tried to smash them out. Unfortunately, I didn't quite get the score that I needed to. Okay. I think I got 94, not 96. Oh. But yeah, but thankfully, I don't know, I think the gods were shining on me, because that's the first year that Notre Dame started running the physio course at their university. So they actually started to take people into the course not just on their scores but also interviews. And they were very big on picking the right people, so they did personal interviews as well. And I was blessed to be able to get in their first cohort. So, I had to work really hard again throughout uni, not being academic, and managed to make my way through the degree, which was awesome.
And then what happened? Did you end up in private practice or public system?
No, interestingly, never wanted to work in private practice, ever.
Right, okay. Tell me more.
Well, I always enjoyed the hospital side of it. I really enjoyed the neuro rehab. But I did start out in hospital. So I did a 3-month stint in a hospital in Perth and actually hated it. One of the reasons is we were limited by discharge dates and funding and things like that. And the people that you were seeing, even in the outpatients, really didn't want to be there. They weren't investing their money to be there. They weren't choosing to be there to get better. And I found that really, really challenging. So then I moved on to working with a company called Therapy Focus, who work with kids with disabilities. and more in the community setting and the school setting. And I absolutely loved that. I loved working with kids. It was very different, but really, really loved it. We then moved to Collie. My husband got work in Collie, which meant that I had to move on from my role in therapy focus. And when we moved to the town, I was looking at options, and basically there was one private practice in the town. So I gave them a call and said, hey, we're moving to town. Can I have a job? And she said yes.
Well, you're always recruiting in regional areas, aren't you?
Absolutely. I can only imagine when she got that phone call, she must have been over the moon. Not often that happens, and I'm still waiting for that to happen to me as a business owner. And yeah, so actually that was possibly, that first year in private practice was possibly one of the hardest years of my life. We had moved towns, moved away from family. We were newly married. That was the first year of our marriage. And my husband was away a lot for his work, so he had to travel a lot. Also, being in private practice was a massive learning curve. It's so different to any of the public sectors and the disability sectors, and it was a huge learning curve. And unfortunately, I wasn't really supported very well in that first year. I didn't have the mentors, and I didn't have the support that I would hope a lot of new grads do have now. And so I really, really struggled and possibly, had a little bit of a mini mental breakdown that year.
Yeah, sure.
But managed to pull through that and keep going. And since then, I've actually grown to absolutely love private practice, and mainly the opposite reasons why I didn't enjoy the public system is, we're not limited by discharge dates. We're not limited by funding. And these people coming to see us are choosing to walk through our doors and pay us to be their healthcare providers, and the difference we can make in their life is just unlimited. We can really build that relationship with them, and we can take their life to a whole new level, which is really grown into a passion of mine.
I really love that. There's a couple of interesting threads, Jazz. We'll get back to the timeline and your story, but you said you loathe private practice, and yet you've learned to love it. You said you struggled academically, and yet you've gone on to do further postgrad study. So where does this come from? Where is this open-mindedness and willingness to tackle things that maybe aren't your strengths? Where does that come from?
It's possibly just a little bit of personality trait. I guess I am a perfectionist as such, so always want to do and achievement. So achievement's one of the biggest things that I need in my life is that sense of achievement. My parents have always instilled hard work in me, and if you put your mind to things and work really hard, then it will pay off. And I think I've always had that desire to help people, and to be able to help people, you need to continually grow and learn. And I think that's a very important part of any health practitioner's career.
That's awesome. I really love that's a huge learning, I think, and probably something that really stood out to me about you when we first connected, even before your clinic mastery journey, was that in order to be able to help more people, we need to keep learning. We need to be open and ready to grow, because others are the priority. It's others first. So that's awesome. Let's jump back on the timeline. Tell us about clinic ownership. Where did that fit into the mix?
Well, just like never wanting to work in private practice, it never even occurred to me that I would ever own my own practice. When I'd worked in the private practice in Collie for about a year, the owners decided that they would like to sell the practice off. So the opportunity sort of arose. Now, I was 24 years old, and I had only been a physio for 2 years at the time. And they came to myself and the other physio who was working there, who was more senior to me, and they offered the practice to us first. Now, the other senior physio wasn't interested in going down that path. And for some reason, the idea of owning the practice really sparked something in me. Partly probably because I really could see potential and the possibility of doing things differently, and I guess changing the healthcare and the way we care for our clients. And I think the sense of the challenge and the achievement, but also the creative side of it, of being a business owner, really, really inspired me and sparked this excitement in me. So I spent some time with my dad. My dad was a really big part of me becoming a business owner. I think without my dad and my husband's encouragement and belief in me that I could do this, I certainly wouldn't be where we are today. I don't think we would have even gotten started on that journey. And also my accountant. I was really blessed to find an amazing accountant who was a huge amount of support for me and encouragement as well. So
wow.
Without my dad, he at the banks, obviously at age 24 with no assets behind me, obviously would not loan me the money. So my dad was my bank. So we put all of our savings, absolutely everything we had, into buying this business, and then my dad was the bank for the remainder. And for the first 2 years, it was hard slog. I worked full-time treating plus running the business, and every single cent that I earned went back into paying my dad back. So for that first couple of years, we lived off my husband's wage and just pumped everything we had back into paying off this loan, and within 2 years we'd managed to pay it off.
Oh, so good.
So it was, look, if I had have known back then what I know now, and there's no way I would have bought a practice. I would have said to myself, what are you doing? You know nothing. But I guess young innocence was possibly in my favour. It was, you know what, I can do this. Let's jump in and have a go. And then once I jumped in with 2 feet, I just had to sink or swim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So, and that was one location at the time, is that right?
Yeah. So that was one location. We then started our family. So not only did I not know what I was doing in business, we decided to chuck in a couple of kids there. But actually, not only having children a blessing, but it was actually a blessing for my business as well. So I wanted to be a mum that stayed at home and cared for their kids. I wanted to be there. That's what I wanted to do. So that forced me into employing physios and stepping out of the treating. And if I have to look back and choose one defining moment in my business journey, I think that would be the top, apart from buying the business, that would possibly be the top moment that really set me on the path to where we are today, because it forced me to step outside of the business, to step away from the treating. So the business no longer relied on me. I had a team there working, and I could be home with my kids, but I could also focus on some of the higher level tasks. And to this day, I have not gone back to full-time treating for that reason.
Do you miss it?
Do you know what? Every now and then I do like to get back in and connect with the clients, but my passion for my team has grown even more. So I actually love spending time with my team and developing them. And as much as I enjoy my clients, I do find it distracts me from that focus on my team. And I also find that I struggle to do both well. So, when I'm with my clients, I want to be 100% focused on them. When I'm with my team, I want to be 100% focused on them. So I do find that I struggle to do both of those things with absolute focus. So I do try to focus more on the team.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really interesting. And paint us a picture of where Physio Group South West is now? What does it look like, to the extent you're comfortable? Team, locations, impacts, etc.
Yeah, well, so we talked about the Collie location. We actually have 3 practices now. So they actually were not planned either. They were amazing opportunities.
Much like kids.
Yeah. They were amazing opportunities that came my way. So there was a period of time there where I had built Collie to 4 full-time physios. So when I took the practice over, it was 2 full-time. We'd grown to 4 full-time physios. Wow. Collie did actually take a bit of a downturn with the mines getting into a bit of trouble there. But so that actually stimulated me to go and have a little look at where else we could provide our services. I had the 4 full-time physios, and I needed to build their caseloads up again and find work to support them. So that's when we went looking, and in neighbouring towns, and that's when we found Harvey, the town of Harvey, which is a town of about 3,500 people, but they had no physio services there.
Wow.
I made connection with one of the GPs in the town, and that was the beginning of an amazing relationship. He had actually just moved practices, and he had his old practice still, the building there, and he offered to rent that to us at an extremely reasonable rate. And we started off just half a day a week, and that GP and his team have been enormous support to us in referrals and helping to promote our services. And we have now grown to being open 4 days a week in Harvey.
Wow, so good.
Yeah, and the community has just completely open arms welcomed us and supported us, and they really appreciate not having to travel to receive their physio services.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, and our 3rd location, Australind, came about 3 years ago. So one of the owner who had that practice had been there for over 20 years, and this owner was absolutely amazing. She was 70 years of age. She was still treating full-time and running her practice, and she's just incredible. But she had got to the point where she needed to step back. So she had not been successful in selling the practice, and she had decided that she'd just have to shut the doors. When I heard about this, I didn't feel that I could let that happen. There was 20 years worth of clients, all the staff, and to just shut the doors, and there was no other physio in that area of, it's in Australind. It's a northern suburb of Bunbury, the city of Bunbury. And the nearest physio was 20 k's away. So I thought, what the heck, let's jump in and take on a 3rd one. And so 3 years later, that practice has now grown from 2 physios to 6 physios.
Whoa, so good.
So there was just a massive potential there, and it just really needed a little bit more energy and life injected into it. And so now we have 11 physios, 23 staff, and the 3 locations in the Southwest.
That's amazing. You should be so proud of what you built. I'm inspired by your journey, and I've had the privilege of working alongside you in a clinic mastery capacity. Tell us about that part of the journey. How did it come to be that you found clinic mastery and you thought that it would be right for you?
Yeah, look, it's been quite a journey. So when I first started out, I sought out as many mentors as I could. I had my dad, I had my accountant, my husband, but I also connected up with the Small Business Centre in Bunbury, and they provide some free business advisory services. And I have to attribute a lot to those people I've just mentioned for, in those early days, really helping me set things up right and get started. And throughout the next 4 or 5 years, I had some great mentors through the Southwest Business Centre, and they actually encouraged me then to apply for the Small Business Awards. And I did that for over 3 years' time. And just writing your submission, just going through that process was amazing. It just made me reflect on everything, really take a overview of the business, really step back and zoom out. And over the 3 years that we entered, each year we just made enormous improvements just simply by doing that process. And in my second year, we won one of the awards. I think it was business with 5 to 10 employees. And as part of that award, we were given a 50% off towards a course at Curtin, the Curtin Business School, and it was for owners. It's called the Growth Owner Program. So that was once a month for a year. We went to Perth and went to Curtin University, and we sat in a room with lots of other business owners from all different industries, which was amazing. It was just awesome to learn from such a diverse amount of people. And they had presenters come in, and we also had a mentor or a coach as part of that program. So that was my first business coach, I guess, which was Lisa Reed. And she really got my curiosity and my thirst and hunger for learning. She really got that going. She made me realize, I guess it's that old saying, the more you learn, the more you realize you don't know.
Yeah, of course.
So she sort of really started that journey for me. So once I completed the Curtin Growth Program, I was still left searching. I was really searching for something more. I knew there was something more out there and more that I could learn. And I struggled for probably 2 or 3 years to find what that was. I looked at doing an MBA, but I just didn't feel that it was really exactly what I was after. It wasn't super relevant. It wasn't super practical. And I looked at other programs as well. And that, Jack, is where you came along and we connected on social media, and you introduced me to CM, and it was almost immediate that I knew that CM, this was what I was been searching for. This was for me. Everything that the CM stands for and believes and values was exactly in line with my values and beliefs. And I've started out with coaching with yourself, and I've also had some coaching sessions with Ben and Andrew as well. And I have to say it has been life-changing. And no, I don't get paid for saying this, do I, Jack?
Not at all. Well, not that I'm aware of, at least.
No. There's no kickbacks here. No, I honestly have to say that CM has been completely life-changing for me. Look, being in business can be lonely. As the business owner, we're expected to have all the answers, and I don't know about you, but I certainly don't.
No,
but
I don't.
No, I don't think any of us do, but we're expected to. But having the CM coaches, the CM team, and this awesome community, it means that we've got any number of people that we can go to when we need to make a decision, or we've got a choice to make, or we've got something going on in our business, and know that at any one time we've got all of these people that are there to discuss it with, to share ideas, to give us a different perspective, and to really give you that support that you need in business.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you for sharing. What about the tangible impacts we've watched your personal journey, whether it's from a personal perspective, clinic growth, team, culture? What's been the impact of your Business Academy journey so far?
I have to say all of those things. I think I guess like it's a big wheel that at every spoke there's been a bit of a push in momentum. So I think, we've worked really hard on our team culture, and we're certainly not perfect and we have a long way to go, but we've really started to build this team of people who are passionate about what we do, and they also fit our culture of teamwork and really caring for our clients and really caring for each other. And I think that's where everything starts. If you have the right team, then what you can achieve together is unlimited.
It's totally true. And, testament to yourself, because that's in a regional area, that's tough to not just recruit any old health practitioner, right? You could, at times, I know we've had this conversation, you'll take anyone with 2 feet in a heartbeat, right? But having that commitment to your values and culture and investing in your team, not just the once off, but over years now, I think has really reaped rewards and benefits. Would you agree?
Yeah, you're right. It is really, really difficult when recruitment is so hard. You're right. And I've certainly made some mistakes over the years, perhaps employing team members who perhaps don't live and breathe our culture. And it's not necessarily wrong. It just doesn't fit with our culture. It's just different. And that does make a really big difference to the team. If there's one person who's really not fitting, it can certainly infiltrate through the rest of your team. So we have had to, work with that challenge.
What are some of the things you do for your team now that you never used to?
Lots of things. So one-on-ones has been game changer for us, developing that relationship one-on-one with each team member and working with them with their needs and where they're at any one time. And they really feel like we're committed to them personally, and they're not just one of a number, and we're really working towards achieving their goals as well. So it's a bit of a two-way give and take. Our quarterly cuddles has been huge. Getting the team together.
For the uninitiated, that's a culture day or an alignment day. Quarter cuddle. Yes. It's a bit of a CM-ism, isn't it?
Yes. It could be called a team conference, which is what we used to call it, but that's a bit too formal for us. So we've taken on the CM quarter cuddle term, which it does actually make a difference to the day. Instead of being such a formal conference where you sit and you talk to, it has more of a team connotation to it. So we've had some days where we've done lots of team building activities, things like learning each other's personality styles, love languages, communication styles, and things like that has been super powerful. Lots of team building days, lots of socials. We are just starting to implement the daily huddle, which again is a huge game changer, where we all just get together for a short stint every single day, and we have a chat about what we're all going through, what's happening with us and what we're working on, and how can we help each other. That as well has been a big game changer in bringing us together more and more.
Jazz, I'm thinking about the listeners here. Maybe there's a clinic owner who's thinking, oh, geez, all these culture days and socials and meeting with people while they're on the clock, that adds up, and it's a cost. Do you see it as a cost or investment? And if it is, I think that's a leading question, what's been the ROI of that investment?
I don't see it as a cost at all. In fact, I think it's a cost if you don't do it.
Oh, wow.
So, I agree, and we have had some team members thinking along the lines of, this is taking time to see clients and revenue and things like that. But I think the return on investment is 100 times the 20-minute time slot that you could be spending with a client. If you can work together on improving the client experience, once a week for 20 minutes, or improving the team culture, or, helping that individual achieve their goals and continue to learn and develop, then you're going to reap the benefits 100,000 times over. And over time, our team they're actually wanting more than what we're currently doing. So often my teammates will give me a message and say, hey, Jazz, when are we catching up? We haven't had one this week. I need to chat to you. I want to catch up. They're actually asking for them more and more now. And I think the more catch-ups, the better.
So good. That's awesome. Jazz, we could talk for hours. There's two other threads that I want to pull on. One would be your personal development and where you are now. But first, let's touch on like marketing. You said kind of flippantly that you grew, from 2 physios to 6. And what's been some of the keys to that marketing and clinic growth for you?
Look, I want to be honest here. Marketing's not my strong point, but I think what the biggest thing for us has been is relationships. So working on our therapist-client relationship has been probably one of our biggest focuses. And we all know that word of mouth marketing is extremely powerful. Mm-hmm. And so I think that's probably the area that has made the biggest difference for us is really improving that client experience and the therapist-client relationship. So that means that they then become raving fans and go and tell everybody else that they should come and see you. Also, relationships within community. So, building the relationship with the GP in Harvey. We've got an awesome relationship with the doctors in Australian and Collie, but also other community members and referrers. So, podiatrists and, other sporting teams. I think ours really hinges on those relationships. And more recently, Jack, you've helped me to stem out into more areas of marketing. So we're really upping our social media at the moment, which is having some great effects as well.
And just to touch on that, and this is your idea, not mine, but that stuff you've done on socials is not just what every clinic does, but it's been that relationship building and team focused. Yeah, it's where are our past team members and get to know our current team. So you're using socials to reinforce those values you touched on previously, right?
Absolutely. We're not producing any amazing content compared to everyone else or anything, but we're staying connected. And it is interesting, some of the posts that get the most interaction are those socials.
Yeah, that's amazing. Okay, that's brilliant. What about you and your personal development? What does life look like in the day or the week of Jazz Hulls now?
Hectic. Where I live and breathe learning. So I am constantly listening to podcasts and audiobooks and watching webinars and anything I can get my hands on. My personal Facebook is actually just full of physio and business. Yeah, so basically I absorb constantly just little snapshots of physio related as well as business. And when I'm driving between the clinics, I always have a podcast or an audiobook on constantly. So I think I'm a little bit addicted, but
What speed do you listen to?
Only double.
Only double. Only, she says. Yeah. That's awesome. And knowing what you know now, with all that learning and hindsight, if you could rewind and maybe speak to young Jasmine Hulls as she bought her clinic, what wisdom would you impart with her?
Look, I absolutely would do it again. I absolutely love what I do. I love working with my team. I love the challenge, the variety, the creativity of being in business. I love having the ability to reach so many more people than I could on my own. And I think personally, my personal growth is just, I can't even put it into words. And I really think as a person, it has helped me to grow and develop. I used to be a person who really disliked conflict, disliked any conversations that were difficult.
Sure.
I put everybody else's needs before me. I had no confidence and self-esteem. But over the years, with the help of the mentors that I've had, I have grown into a person who's happy in my own skin. I am more confident and I'm passionate about what I'm doing, and I absolutely love it every single day.
Amazing. And I would definitely echo that. You are a ball of energy and passion and enthusiasm, which I absolutely love, and so open and humble, curious and teachable. And it's been an absolute joy to play a small part and watch your growth and your clinic's impact. It's been absolutely phenomenal, and thank you for sharing. I'm sure listeners will have absolutely frothed on this episode. If people want to maybe connect with you personally and ask some more personal questions, or check out your clinic, where or how can they do that?
Absolutely. So we are on social media. So we are on Facebook and Instagram under Physio Group South West. You can connect with us on there. You can also check out our website, www.physiogroupsw.com.au, and I am more than happy if anyone wants to connect with me directly via my email address, which is j.hulls@physiogroup.sw.com.au. I loved connecting with other business owners and sharing stories and ideas. So
love it. And listeners, we'll make sure we link all that up for you in the show notes. And I would definitely recommend reaching out to Jazz. I did a couple of years ago, and it's so grateful that we've been able to build this friendship and relationship and work together on amplifying our impact and building clinics for good. Jasmine, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for sharing and being so open and transparent. It's been a pleasure having you as a guest. And listeners, thank you for tuning in to this episode. We will link all the show notes and getting in touch with Jazz and her clinic in the show notes over at clinicmastery.com/podcast. You can check it all out there. And if you feel like leaving us a review or rating after listening to this episode, we would be eternally grateful in iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, or wherever else you might listen to this episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. And Jazz, thank you for joining us on the Grow Your Clinic podcast.
Thank you. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Cheers. Bye for now, listeners. We'll see you on the next episode.
Thanks for tuning in to the Grow Your Clinic podcast. To find out more about past episodes or how we can help you, head to www.clinicmastery.com/podcast. And please remember to rate and review us on your podcast player of choice. See you on the next episode.